First home weekend of the season is in the books and a successful one on the field and at the tailgate. Negative Neeson Harb coming to you. I'm going to try not to talk a whole lot tonight. Harb, my voice is hurting. My throat's hurting.
Hmm.
Y'all can fill in the jokes if you want, but I talked too much this weekend. So
You had a late night last night.
late night last night announced the Hornets blowout win over Union County on Friday night, 62 to 26, I think was the score. They improved to 2-1, so a lot of talking, but I'm gonna power through it.
I heard of a place that's doing throat therapy.
Oh, really? Is it
And
Andrew's Physical Therapy doing that?
no, not quite. There might be a guy named Andrew there, but
Ah,
not necessarily.
I got you.
I mean, kind of same concept, just a little bit different setup.
I'll get with you after the show so we can figure it out.
Yeah.
All right, let's start with Tennessee and East Tennessee State University. 72, what was it? 72-17, Harb. Yes. The most points scored by a Tennessee team in the modern era, which goes back to 1933. The previous high was against Kent State. I guess that was last year. And then I think 71. And then in 2000, I was actually at this game. Uh, Tennessee beat Louisiana Monroe 70-3. Casey Clausen's rookie year. So, little factoid for you there. I remember that game very well. But thoughts about the game? I mean, I think you and I both said last week what we wanted to see out of Tennessee was come out, play well, be locked in, and get out of there and stay healthy. And I think for the most part, they did every one of those things.
Yeah, I felt like we executed things pretty well. I think the starters, for the most part, looked pretty good. There was a couple mishaps. I think they were back to back. That's why they're prominent. I believe it was Bishop and Kitzelman both with the drops, maybe back to back plays in the same exact spot.
It was.
Um, but if I'm nitpicking one drive, I think it went pretty well. I think ETSU got one first down in the first half. Correct me if I'm
I
wrong
think
on
that's
that.
right. Yes.
They scored their one touch and the fumble we had. You're gonna have to fill in on that one because I'd just gotten back to my seat and all of a sudden ETSU's on the two. I don't really remember what happened, or I don't
I
have.
honestly, I was not, I had gone to get something to drink, so I missed that as well. So
Well,
I'm no help on that one. I haven't gone back and watched the film.
this is
So
it's really good podcasting because
I
we
just,
both went to go get a Dr.
I,
Pepper and a Petra at
I
the
will
same time.
say, I will say, I looked up, I'd gotten some, I think I got a glizzy and looked up at the TV and ETSU is on what the 2 or 3 yard line or something like that. I was like, wait a minute, what just happened? I never heard anything from the stands, but yeah, I don't know what happened there. So apologies to everybody. Harb and I both missed that one. This is terrible podcasting. We don't even know what we're talking about.
Is what it is. I do know the kid that scored for ETSU on that play as his first career touchdown, so that's a pretty cool one.
Good for him.
Career touchdown in Neyland Stadium. Uh, ETSU ran two quarterbacks. I think we forgot that Cade McNamara is not very good at football.
I didn't.
I was guilty of that. I got name locked just a hair. Um, yeah, he's not very good, and we knew this, and I just kind of let it slip my brain.
Yeah,
But yeah, I don't think there's a ton to talk about. I think Aguilar looked pretty good. He made some plays. I think the receivers looked better as far as catching goes. You can't really put a whole lot of stock into a lot of efforts in a game like this, but took care of business, didn't get caught looking ahead. And I want to say the starters played one series in the third quarter,
I think, yes.
and then put in the put in the second string and so forth. Yeah, I mean, not a whole lot to talk about. You did what you were supposed to do. I don't remember anybody getting injured. Maybe been one. You got a lot of guys that needed some reps, some reps. Yeah, I don't even know if you can put a letter grade on it.
Yeah, it's hard. I mean,
Yeah, I mean, I guess you could. I don't know. I mean, you can't go any lower than A or B, I suppose.
no, I was
I am
looking.
I am disappointed David Sanders Jr. didn't play.
Yeah, we talked about that when we found out pregame. And he went, I sure hope, and maybe it doesn't matter. I mean, I know they've played Syracuse and East Tennessee State out of the gate, but the offensive line, the first two games, pushed both of those teams, which they should against ETSU. But I went back and watched the Syracuse game. They pushed Syracuse's defensive front four and seven around, and they did the same thing against ETSU on Saturday. So I and that was without your five-star offensive lineman that's a freshman. So yeah, obviously he's going to help you. He's going to add depth as well, but maybe we're okay if he is out again. I don't know what I've heard minor injury. Last week it was illness. Like I don't know what the injury is. They've not been very forthcoming about it, but they're not with any injury. But I hope he's back next week just from a depth standpoint. They can rotate more guys in and out, keep everybody fresh, and I I'm really liking the way this offensive line is playing football right now. I think it's one of the keys to this team: offensive line and the defensive front seven, and the running back room. All three of those position groups are, in my opinion, some of the best we've had here in Josh Heupel's tenure. So we'll see, and they're going to need it next week against the Bulldogs. Harb coming to town, 3:30. I about said CBS, ABC.
I wish it
Checkered.
was still CBS.
Yeah, I wish it was. Checkered. I just remembered it was checkered kneeling. I had to look it up. Of course, just got a text from Big Montana. We're in the white section, so I the last few years we were in YY8, we had to wear white every time. So I think the first checkered kneeling we ever had, we wore orange in our section, and they flipped it around, and it's been the same ever since. So I think I'm destined to wear white at a checker kneeling game the rest of my life, which is fine.
Y'all are white.
I'll do my part.
If y'all are white, I'm assuming that I'll be in orange since I'm directly above you.
Possibly. We'll look it up while you're talking about Georgia. What do you think about this weekend? I know you picked us to win in the preseason show. Vols opened up as 7-point dogs. You're orange.
I
Good
am
for
orange.
you.
Good for me.
Good for you. Vols open as 7-point dogs as of this morning. I don't know if that's changed any as of 9 o'clock here on Sunday night, but the one that flipped is the ESPN FPI, the Football Power Index, which is the analytics. You know, Harbin always says piss on your analytics, but yeah, I looked at it when we did the show, preview show a couple weeks ago. I think Georgia was favored like what was it, Harb, 60% to 40%, something like that.
Yeah, something like that.
I don't know why there's been such a dramatic flip in this, but now Tennessee is the favorite to win by the slimmest of margins at 51.5%. Um, that's a big flip though in just like 3 weeks time frame. But I don't know. Vegas thinks one again, the humans think one way, the computers think another way of the Tennessee Vols right now.
Yeah, I'm conflicted. My head says that Georgia's not showing anything. It's classic Kirby Smart. Just get the dub. Who cares about style points? Doesn't matter. It's a long year. Hence, they did win 45-7 against Marshall, but didn't show a ton. Didn't look that dominant for a 38-point win. I know it sounds funny, but then through the weather, it was 28-6 over Austin P this past week.
Hmm.
But then my heart says this Georgia doesn't look as good as previous Georgia teams have in the past. This atmosphere is going to be absolutely nuclear. I think our players think they have a better chance than what they've had in years past. So, yeah, I don't really know what to think level headedly. I'm trying to balance between the head and the heart here. But, and Syracuse barely beat UConn. I feel
Yeah.
like we, I feel like we need to talk about that. And their coach made them run suicides in the Carrier Dome in front of
So
the fans after the game.
I saw that.
I can't tell if I loved or hated
I
that.
actually kind of like that. He's sending a message that I don't know if they'll get it or not, but um, hey, you
Oh.
don't play well. I've had to do that before on a team. Didn't play well. In baseball, you go run foul poles.
Mm-hmm.
Not fun.
No.
But yeah, I just don't. I want to pick Tennessee. It's at Neyland Stadium. We just don't lose here much. Our only loss the last 3 years in Neyland Stadium is against Georgia in 2023. Um, it just doesn't happen very. I think we're what is it 24-1 our last 25 games or something like that in Neyland. I can't remember, but it's we were talking about this at lunch today. It's like you saw the Austin P Georgia score. What was the final score? It was not
28-6.
28-6. And I know there was weather. There was a big lightning delay, and game sporting events get funky when there's lightning delays and weather delays like that. But um, it's kind of like when you put it best when Tennessee went down to Georgia in 2022. Georgia dominated us. Let's just be real. But the score was only 27-13, final score. And as Harb put it, it's like they were just playing with their food, which I said today at lunch when I was talking to some people. I was like, that can come back to bite you sometimes. But I feel like Georgia does that a lot. They get a lead and they're just like, all right, we're good. We'll just beat you this way. And that's what they do. And maybe that's what they've been doing the first couple weeks. I know Marshall's not very good this season. They lost a bunch of players and their coaches from last year, and Georgia won 45-7. And then Austin P, who beat MTSU last week, which I don't know how good MTSU is. I don't think they're very good. Derek Mason's their head coach, if that tells you anything. But um, they just kind of kept kept uh kept the governors at arm's length from them yesterday. So I don't know what to make of Georgia. Again, I think I said it on our previous show 2 or 3 weeks ago that I think they're very talented, very good football team, but they just don't strike that fear in me that they used to. And the same thing with Alabama. I mean, they're very good football teams, don't get me wrong, and they've got a lot of talent, 5 stars all over the place, but there's something different about them. And maybe they just haven't shown a lot the first 2 weeks. And we'll see. Well, I mean, we'll see Saturday. This is the first big test for both of these teams. I mean, Georgia hasn't played anybody, and you could say Tennessee hasn't played anybody. So it's the first SEC game of the season for both. First big test of the season for both. There's a lot to be seen on Saturday.
For sure. And I think one of the biggest keys of the game, which and this is most football games, but if we can contain their run game and make Gunnar Stockton play quarterback, while being able to effectively run the ball on our own end. I think that's the key to victory here. If you just let Georgia run it down your throat, especially if they get up by 7 or 10, it's good night. Like
Hmm.
it's just not happening. But if you can get it to 3rd and 5, 3rd and 6, and beyond, and make the quarterback beat you that way, considering this will only be his what, fourth start, fifth start. I know he started. We came in the SEC championship game, correct? And they started their playoff game.
Yes.
Okay, so this will be his fourth and a half game. Yeah, you gotta expose the inexperience, especially in probably the hardest atmosphere he's ever played in. Just don't think too hard about it. When you're playing Georgia, you need to do your best to stop the run, and if they beat you over the top, they beat you over the top. And I don't think a whole lot's changed on this team. And you gotta be able to run the ball. This
Yeah.
is also the biggest game of Joey Aguilar's life too. So there's a lot of unknowns going into this game, but it's kind of hard to argue the fact that whatever team has more rushing yards is going to win this game. It's a personal opinion.
Yeah. I think both teams are going to be focused on running the football. I think I don't I hate to say this, we've not seen a lot of Gunner Stockton. Joey, I think Tennessee's got the advantage at quarterback right now in this game. But it's going to come down to, can Tennessee stop the run and like you said, force Gunner Stockton to play quarterback. If he beats you, he beats you. Okay. But can Tennessee keep Georgia's run game in check? Georgia wants to run they're like Tennessee. They want to run the football. That's their that's their go-to. They are run first. They want to run the football so they can play action pass. Tennessee wants to run the football, and we need to run the football to keep our tempo up. And so both teams are going to be focused on stopping the run and running the football. And I think it's pretty simple. That's what it comes down to, in my opinion.
Yeah, and you brought up a good point. I mean, Tennessee and Georgia's offensive mindsets are similar, just different styles.
Different way about it.
Georgia's more ground and pound, punch in the mouth, and Tennessee is too to an extent, but they make it look different. Like,
Georgia runs more of a pro style.
right, they're under center a lot more, and kind of big bodied type deal. We spread the field out and try to get as many people outside the box as possible. But I'm fired up. I Saturday's going to be so fun. It could be very not fun by 5:30,
Hope
but
not.
no, me too. Obviously, hell, I hope we win by 40. But we could
I hope we win by one. Just give me a 1 point win.
we could go out there and win by a touchdown, and I don't think anybody'd be shocked. Or we could go out there and lose by 17, and I don't think anybody'd be shocked. Just one of those games.
I agree. You picked Tennessee to win on our preseason show. Are you sticking with that?
I am sticking with it. There's just something that feels different. And if I'm wrong, I'll be the first one to put my hand up and say I was an idiot. I've never once pretended to be the smartest person in East Tennessee. But something feels different about this matchup. I think there's a little bit different attitude about this team than there has been the last couple of years. And I'm not saying Georgia's down at all. I mean, it's kind of like we joke about Tennessee baseball. We don't rebuild, we reload.
Yes.
That's Georgia football. Like, these guys are good, and we know they're good. They're consistently one of the best programs in the country. But at the same time, I think eventually it's your turn. And we might need a bounce or two to go our way Kind of like that Bama game in 22. We had a couple of those go our way. You limit mistakes and take the breaks when they come to you. There you go. Uh, I am optimistic with how Matthews and Brazel played this weekend. I forgot to mention that. Now, it is against ETSU, and they were mostly wide open. Brazel made a really good catch on that fade in the end zone. That was a good throw and catch. And then Matthews on that long ball, really good catch for the touchdown. I think Matthews scored twice, didn't he? Or they both scored twice, did they not?
I think Matthew. Oh no, that was Peyton Lewis had three, or Star Thomas had three touchdowns. Yeah, I think Matthews had two.
I think Brazel had two as well, did he not?
Well, when you score 72, there's going to be a lot of people with multiple scores. Let's look. Hold on, I got it right here. Let's do better. Let's do better than guessing. Let's see. Star
We
Thomas, three
we
touchdowns.
shot even par.
Yeah, Star Thomas, three touchdowns. Dwayne Morris, one touchdown. Peyton Lewis, one. That was on the running back side. On the wide receivers, Brazel with two, Matthews with one. We were both wrong. And then Jack Van Dorslayer with a touchdown, Harb.
Love it.
One catch for 7 yards and a touchdown for Jack. And that was it. So the wide receivers slash tight ends had four touchdowns. Um, Running the football had five. Three from Thomas, one from Morris, and one from Peyton Lewis. And then obviously Joey Aguilar threw for two touchdowns. Man, I didn't realize that he threw 31 attempts. 23 of 31, 288, two touchdowns. Merklinger came in 9 of 14, 118, two touchdowns. And then freshman George McIntyre, 6 of 7, 52 yards for the young fella. A lot of touchdowns.
A lot of points.
A lot of points, a lot of touchdowns. I'm gonna stick with Georgia winning this game, but I said this Harb on the previous show. I keep like I just don't think Tennessee's ready. I just don't think we're there yet. But like, when are we going to be? We're in year five, and I understand. We're you know still behind the eight ball with scholarships in the recruiting area, but they're recruiting their butts off. By the way, for next year's class. But I'm just talking this year. It's like we're still kind of playing with one arm tied behind our back just a little bit. But at some point you got to like if you want to be considered one of the top teams in this conference, you got to win games like this. And we
Mhm.
do. We beat Alabama 2 years in a row at home. We beat Florida two times in a row at home. But we haven't beat Georgia since 2016, and we've only beat them three times since 2009. And so, at what point do they start winning these games? It's at home, so it gives me a little more hope than if we were going to Athens this weekend. But I still think until I see it, I'm a doubting Tom. I think Georgia wins, but I think it's going to be a competitive game. I think Tennessee can hang with these guys and scare the death out, frighten them a little bit. But I hope I'm wrong. But I'm taking Georgia. I'm sticking with my original pick.
I don't think we scared Georgia. Uh, I don't necessarily agree with that terminology. We're to the point where nobody should scare us either, especially at home. Like, these two teams are not scared of each other. I think this is going to be a good ass football game between two very good football teams. I think that just is what it is. I think we've got that battered Vols syndrome,
Yeah.
and we need to just quit thinking like that. This is not 2017 anymore. It's not uh, like we're out of the 2010s. Let's just put it that way. And I think as of right now, I think our running back room is close to equivalent from what it was last year. We don't have a Dylan Sampson, but we've got three badasses back there. I think the receivers are pretty even from what they were last year, maybe a hair down. We definitely upgraded at quarterback. So far, the offensive line looks better than it did last year. D line looks on par, if not better than last year. I mean, shit, like our best defensive player's not even back yet.
Yeah.
And we're talking about a team that went 10-2 and went to the playoff last year. Like, when you look at it like that, the outlook gets a lot more optimistic, in my opinion. And I think with Aguilar, dude's got nothing to lose. I mean, we know all about his backstory. Ask Chad Grubb about it if you don't. Um,
Yeah, Chad will be happy to tell you all about Joey Aguilar's backstory.
yeah.
Do you know he wanted to be a firefighter?
In my opinion, he's the smartest quarterback we've had in the last 3 years. And I think he's the most aggressive that we've had in the last 3 years. And I think Heupel sees both of those. And I think we talked about this previously. Heupel's got a little bit to prove as far as quarterback play goes. I think he's got a little bit of a chip on his shoulder just to prove, be like, hey, if you come in and you've got a little bit of competency to you and you're willing to learn, I can turn you into a very good college quarterback. By the way, UCLA's 0-2.
Oh, too bad.
Uh, a UCLA fan page put on Twitter last night in all caps. They said 2 million for this.
There was
That's
another
basically
one.
multiply that by three, and then you'll realize why we let him go.
There, there was another one that said, "Thank you to all the Tennessee fans who keep reminding us that we're 0 and 2. Yes, we do know that we're 0 and 2, and Nico's our quarterback. Thanks for reminding us that we're 0 and 2." They started out so poorly. I didn't see the first of the game. When I turned it on, it was 20-3, I think, but he got in a rhythm. I ended up falling asleep again. I never saw most of the game. But they apparently got hot offensively and got back into it and was down 30-23, and then he threw another pick, staring down his receiver, never saw the linebacker, and just threw it right to him. I mean, I don't, I've never played quarterback. I don't understand how these guys don't. He's literally looking in that area. How does he not see that guy in all red standing there? He throws it right to him. It almost hit him in the face. He was so accurate with it. But that's a shame about Nico.
So back to the Tennessee Georgia game. I want to highlight some key players on our side that, in my opinion, have to play well for us to win this ball game. And you can add or subtract a few if you want. For me, the biggest ones are our corners, Hood and Redmond, because McCoy's not going to play, and obviously Gibson's out for an extended period of time. You're going to be relying a lot on a true freshman that's from Georgia, correct?
Yes.
He got overlooked by Georgia, so he's probably going to have a chip on his shoulder. He probably played against half of these guys in high school. I think he's got to step it up, or he's played well. Don't get me wrong, but he's got to show out. Hood's got to play well, and T-Lander. T-Lander's kind of the leader of this defense so far. And obviously, the whole D line is a unit, but those three are the biggest ones on defense for me. And on offense, the receivers, most notably Matthews and Braswell, they got to get separation because they did get separation on Saturday. That's also against ETSU. And in the Syracuse game, it didn't help out a ton, but even with a inferior competition, they did play much better in week 2 as opposed to week 1. They've got to help out. They've got to help out Joey get this offense going. Make a couple big plays here and there, but make the plays you're supposed to. And I think Kitzelman's going to be a big piece. See if he can kind of leak out in the middle. And that's another thing we've liked over the last 3 years. Joey Aguilar is not scared and is accurate in throwing it over the middle. And that opens up a ton of stuff on offense. And last but not least, I think it's the tackles. Lance Hurd's looked vastly improved from last year, but we're playing against big boys now. And you remember we won against Oklahoma, but he had a bad game. Um, another other big games, but there's a lot of different factors from last year. I think we said last week kind of feels like he's learned his lesson. We're going to be leaning on him a lot, and if David Sanders Jr. plays, that's a huge question mark. We haven't seen him play a live game, and if he does start, he's getting thrown against the Wolves to one of the best defensive lines in the country. So we'll see how that goes. Those, in my opinion, are the five players that are biggest keys for us to win. Or I guess that's six or seven. But
I'm excited to see Aguilar play against him. I was telling Big Montana yesterday and some others, maybe you were there too afterwards. It was nice to see our quarterback actually make reads and go through his progressions. There was one time I can't remember, it was, I think it was toward the end of the first half. Like he literally started on this side of the field and went to that side of the field. And when have we seen that the last two seasons? It was like one or two reads, football's gone, or they're running. And yesterday it was he knew where he was going with the football decisively, and he also was able, when that wasn't there, he was able to go through his reads and find somebody else. So that was refreshing to see. But I'm excited to see him play against a team like Georgia, see what he can do.
yeah, yeah, dude's not scared of anything, and I think that kind of overtakes talent at some point. And he's got talent. Don't get me wrong, but I'm riding with our guys. I think we're 3-0. I think we finally announced that we're here to legitimately compete with the best of the best. We were kind of teetering last year, but I think we've been knocking on that door. I think we kick that sumbitch in on Saturday.
Let's do it. I will be so happy if I'm wrong about this pick. And if I am wrong and you're right and we win, the uh the G10 garage might crumble to the ground before they even knock it down for the new entertainment district, Harb.
Oh yeah, yeah. The city of Knoxville or the university may save a lot of money
Yeah,
in demo.
yeah, we may save that might be our donation to the university for the next several years if that happens. But
And
um
I don't want to get ahead of myself here, but if we do win, I really hope we don't storm the field.
no, we gotta stop doing that stuff. We're
I think
Tennessee, man. We're better than that.
I mean, for years it made sense if we did because we were kind of in the gutter. And the first time we did against Bama made a lot of
I
sense.
I understood that, but
That
it's
one was totally fine. That was fun. We're to a point where we shouldn't rush the field for beating anybody.
no. It's like I mean, we never
People should
did
rush the
that.
field for beating us.
We never did that when we beat anybody ever. I mean, we had the field rushed against us at Georgia in 2000, at LSU in 2000, but that was the first time those schools had beat us in years. I mean, I think when Georgia beat us in 2000, what were we up to 9 in a row against those guys? LSU, I mean, we didn't play LSU every year, but they hadn't beat us in years until 2000. So, I remember those pretty vividly growing up. Like, man, we're getting the field rushed on us and goalposts torn down. I think the Georgia game in 2000, they actually ran onto the field before the game was even over. And it wasn't like 4 or 5 seconds on the clock. It was like 30 or 40 seconds on the clock, and there's just people everywhere. Um, but yeah, we don't need to do that if we win Saturday.
No, I agree with you.
We really shouldn't have done it last year against Bama. The first year, okay. Last year, I didn't think we should have done that, but it happened. What are you going to do about it now? Um, Big game Saturday. I'm looking forward to it. I'm excited. The Hornets are on the road Friday night, so I don't have to announce a game, and my voice should be at 100% Saturday, Harb. So we'll see. I'm gonna do a lot of vocal rest and vocal exercises this week to get back in the game.
Yes, but this is a week of preparation.
Yes. I'm gonna be poised and prepared, fired up, and in the words of Philip Fulmer, I'm gonna be fired up, focused, and prepared.
The three Fs.
Um, have you got your SEC power rankings ready to go?
I do.
So last week you had LSU at number one, and you had Kentucky at 16. I have a
Hmm.
feeling things are gonna change in the middle. I don't think those two are gonna change. I wouldn't assume, but what do you got?
Well, I asked you last week. I'm gonna ask you again. Would you like me to start at the top or the bottom?
I like starting at the bottom.
Starting at the bottom. Okay, we can
I'm
start
a,
at the
I'm a
bottom.
bottom feeder, Harbin.
Starting at 16. Actually, we're gonna start at 17.
17.
Yeah, Kentucky's 17.
Wow. So who's 16?
16's Arkansas.
I
I'm
don't
just
know where you're. I'm
I,
trying to figure out where you're going with this, but continue.
I was gonna put South Florida in the
Oh,
I was gonna put South Florida towards
by
the
the way, I tweeted this afternoon. South Florida beat Florida, and you'll get to that, I'm sure. But have you seen South Florida's first three games?
Oh yeah.
Hosting Boise State, they beat them. At Florida, beat them. This weekend, they're on the road at Miami. That's kind of a wild start to a schedule, even for a power four or a group of five team. Like,
They
where's
have,
their cupcake at?
they have the best resume in the country so far. I mean, it's only 2 game sample size, but you have Boise State come to you. They were a 6.5 point favorite. You beat them by 27. And then you go to the Swamp, and that spread was 17 for whatever reason. I know it's easy to say now, but even I saw that, and I was like, that feels like a cover.
I saw it and picked South Florida. I never hesitated.
I didn't either. I bet it on Sunday, actually.
Yeah, you
Wow.
said it last week. You took him on the
Yeah.
show.
But yeah, Kentucky's at 16. I've still got Arkansas at 15. They looked a lot better this past week. They put up 56, but it's still Sam Pittman and Arkansas, which I like Sam Pittman, don't get me wrong, but I'd be shocked if he survives this year in Fayetteville. Um, 14, I've got Florida.
Okay.
And remember, these are a mix of where they were last week, how they played this week, and kind of how I feel who would beat who, neutral site. But Florida looked uninspired. It was a poorly coached game. Alex Golesh absolutely outcoached the heck out of Billy Napier. And what was the deal with Billy Napier not taking any timeouts when South Florida got in the red zone?
Yeah, I don't know what was he doing.
He just let the clock dwindle down, and then next thing you know, South Florida gets one first down, and they're kicking an extra point for the win.
Yeah,
Didn't
it was
make
really odd. I don't. Maybe he's trying to get paid on a buyout or something. I don't know. Maybe he's on the take.
didn't make a whole lot of sense. And also, Florida's next 4 games are at LSU, at Miami, Texas at home, and at Texas A&M.
Wow.
Going to be going to be a rough road. And then you get a quote unquote breather against Mississippi State, and you got Georgia and Jacksonville at Kentucky, at Ole Miss and Florida and Tennessee and Florida State. It don't get any easier from here.
Mm-mm.
So yeah, 14. I've got Florida, and this is a big tank, even though they're 2-0. But just getting a larger sample size, I've got Texas A&M at 13. And there's going to be some people disagree with me on that because they've won. I want to say they've won both their games by an average of 20, but it hasn't looked all that great to me. You beat Utah State by 22. You beat UTSA by 18. It's kind of ho hum. And I don't think it's like I'm not showing y'all anything. I just don't know if they've got it. And they got to go to Notre Dame this upcoming week, so we'll learn a lot about those two teams. At 12, I've got Vandy,
Moving
and
them
I
up.
and I really thought about moving them up a little bit more, but then I looked at the teams that have to jump, and I don't agree with it. Vandy put on a second half onslaught on Virginia Tech, which I don't think Virginia Tech is any good.
They're
But they
not.
were they were down they were down by 7 or 10 at some point, and they ended up winning by 24. So hell of an effort by Clark Lee and company. I've got them at 12, and that's subject to change. At 11, I've got Alabama.
Crimson Tide moved up a spot. They were 12 last week in your power rankings.
Yeah, and it is such a fall from grace for Alabama to feel the need to put 71 on Louisiana Monroe. And they kept the starters in for a very long time. Did you notice that?
Yeah,
Like it wasn't like they pulled them out at halftime and their backups did it. It was kind of like stat searching, like really. I mean, it was the red ass treatment. Let's just call it what it is. And if you're a Bama fan, you probably look at that and you're like, that was needed. Get a little bit of momentum going into Wisconsin. I think they've got next this upcoming week.
yes. They
Um,
Wisconsin's coming to Tuscaloosa.
in the weirdest way possible, I think you get more respect if you win 45 to nothing. That's also coming from a guy that dropped 72 on ETSU.
Yeah.
But the way they did it was a little try hard, in my opinion. 10, I've got South Carolina. They kind of looked lethargic against South Carolina State at times. They ended up pulling away. I think it won 38 to 10.
Hmm.
Still not a believer. Just plain and simple. Just I do not believe in South Carolina. I believe in Lenore Sellers, and he'll take them as far as they can possibly go. But
But you did move him up one spot in your rankings.
right, because Florida tanked.
Yeah.
Yeah. At 9, I've got Ole Miss. That
Oh,
was
oh,
that's one of the biggest drops from this week, and
okay.
they did win a conference game on the road, but they didn't look very good either.
Mm-mm.
Like like Kentucky looked just straight up dumb at times, and they still only won by one score. Ole Miss is weird. Lane Kiffin's weird. If you've paid attention the last few years, you know exactly what I'm talking about. You'll see him play games, and you're like, "Oh, it's a bona fide playoff team," and then you'll see him play again, and you're like, "How is this team bowl eligible?" Got him dead in the middle of the pack. And at 8, I've got Mississippi State. They got a huge victory in Starkville. I think they kind of treated this as their Super Bowl after the comments from Dillingham, Arizona State's coach, that probably got taken out of context. But they played really well, knocked off number 12 team in the country, and they're fired up. Shout out to them boys. They got the highest jump in the rankings, I think.
Yes.
They got the highest jump, and they deserve this. I'm happy for the people of Starkville, Mississippi. At 7, I've got Missouri. They got down early against Kansas, came back, looked good, ended up winning. They ended up covering. I know that. They end up winning by 14.
I think so, yes.
They were down by 14, won by 14. That's gutsy, especially in a um, rivalry game. The border war, I believe, is what it's called.
Yes.
Also, shout out to that Missouri student that had a chance to kick a
Yeah.
field goal for 25 grand, and instead he took his shirt off and he had FKU painted on his chest, and he just kicked the ball dead at Kansas's players.
Yeah. Right at the sideline.
There's nothing that will top a college football rivalry. He had a chance for 25 grand and said, hell with it, I'm going to kick it at these guys. Shout out to that kid. 6, I've got Auburn.
Okay.
Auburn looked good again. They played Ball.
They
State.
played the Fighting David Letterman's Ball State.
Also Hard State. Not to be confused with Also Hard University. Yeah, they still they look pretty good. I think they're better than what people are giving them credit for. And with Hugh Freeze, you've always got a halfway chance, and you've also got a halfway chance to crumble. They've got South Alabama this week, and then after that, they got two Oklahoma. So we'll learn a lot about them in week five. Five, I've got Tennessee. I've got us dropping one spot. Um, we've taken care of business. There's not a whole lot to say about us until next week, and we've already discussed it. Four, I've got Texas. Texas won 38-7 over San Jose State. I still don't think they looked phenomenal, but I'm still putting them there just because I know how talented they are. Arch Manning's stat line looked a lot better, but if you saw the throws he made, there's nobody within 20 yards of his receivers, and half of them are still underthrown. And there's a guy on Twitter that thinks that he's playing through a shoulder injury.
Well, I
Something.
mean, he had, was it a shoulder or a leg injury?
Well, there's a couple videos of him throwing and wincing really bad, and just the throws
Yeah.
super short.
Oh, I got you. Yes, that's right.
So, but still, they won by 31. Good little bounce back, momentum booster. And this might be tied for biggest jump. I'll have to look at the graphics. But number three is Oklahoma. They had far and beyond the best win in the conference this week. Took down number 15 Michigan, I believe.
Hmm.
Just absolutely shell shocked Bryce Underwood, which I'm not knocking on Bryce Underwood too bad. It's his second game of his career, and it's at Oklahoma. Oklahoma's good. John Mateer got an early Heisman push in this game. I think he's legit. I think that game when they come to Neyland could be really, really fun. Hopefully, we can pull that one out. But I think Oklahoma's a lot better than what people thought they were going to be. It's kind of crazy what a new quarterback can do for you in college football these days. And at the top, nothing's changed. Two's Georgia. I'm not putting a whole lot of stock into them kind of playing with their food against Austin P. I think that was more so the weather and not wanting to show anything before this week. We've seen this before with Georgia. And number one's LSU. They didn't look super inspiring against, was it Louisiana Tech?
Yeah. Yes.
Was it Louisiana Tech?
Hmm.
Um, I think it was 23-7. I think I didn't watch a single lick of this game, but I think they might have had a little bit of the weather that Clemson and Georgia was going through. That big band going through the southeast, just south of us. Yeah, I mean, they were favored by 36 and a half. I didn't realize that. Good Lord.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did not realize that. But in my opinion, they've still got the best resume in the SEC, so they deserve to keep that number one spot until somebody knocks them off. Now, something to keep your eye on. Florida just lost to South Florida, and they're going to Baton Rouge next weekend.
Hmm.
7:30 kickoff. The line is only 6.5.
Wow. Um,
Somebody must know something that we don't.
yeah.
And
Yeah.
LSU only has a 61% chance to win that football game, according to ESPN's FPI.
Yeah, man, I don't know what Vegas usually knows. I don't know what they know, but
And sometimes they look like fools. I mean, it's much more common for them to know what they're doing than not. But that's interesting to me. So keep your eye on that. I'm not telling you to take one side or the other. I'm probably not going to touch that line. But 6.5 LSU feels like a sucker line.
I
I like
like your rankings, Harb. I don't really have many gripes about them. I think if I had any gripe about it. I know Ole Miss didn't look good, but I would still probably have them ahead of Missouri and Mississippi State. But other than that, I mean, when you look at these, like Kentucky, yeah, they hung around with Ole Miss, but they're not very good. I, I can't get a read on Arkansas. They've not played anybody. They played Arkansas State, the Fighting Butch Jones yesterday, and they looked really good against them, but that's not saying a whole lot. And I don't know who they played in week one that they just pummeled. Um, they haven't played anybody yet, so I kind of like where they're at, but they could be a team that we didn't think would be very good, and they probably, I would assume they're not going to be, but they might sneak around and win 7 or 8 games. I mean, they've looked good in 2 games, but again, they have not played anybody. Florida, I like where they're at. Texas A&M at 13, Vandy at 12. I think Vandy might be, they are better this year, but Virginia Tech is not good. They're not good. And when we saw that against South Carolina, I really like where you have South Carolina hard. We were talking before we recorded. South Carolina is not good on offense right now. I know everybody likes Lenore Sellers. I think he's a pretty good quarterback, but something's missing on that team offensively right now. They are really struggling to score points and move the football, but they're making it happen with their defense and their special teams, which is 2 out of the 3 phases of the game. So, you could say, oh, well, they're really good defensively and offensively, but their special team sucks. It's the same thing, but um, that the lack of offensive production could come back to haunt them at some point. But other than that, I like where all these are. I think the two that have really leaped up in your poll or your power rankings, Oklahoma and Auburn, I think they are better than what people are letting on. And the computer rankings show that. I mean, they've got Auburn up at 11 now, 5 spots ahead of where they were. I was looking here, Arkansas is up to 18, up 10 spots from where they were. And then let's see, where is Oklahoma, Harb? They are
Okay.
behind South Carolina. They were at 22, only up 1 spot. But South Carolina plummeted to number 20, 10 spots. They were one of the biggest droppies this week. Florida only dropped, well, they dropped 11. So they were the biggest droppee this week to 23. But I think this is pretty accurate. We'll know a lot more after next week. Um, Tennessee's hosting Georgia game of the week. Game day's coming. Harbin. When were they here last time? Were they here last year for Bama?
I
I can't remember.
don't think so.
I wonder who the guest picker will be. Who do you think it might be?
Uh, Wallen,
Ooh, that would be a good one. Is he? We'd have to
Wallen,
look and see if he's on tour anywhere.
Wallen, Peyton.
Those are yeah. I mean, I don't think Morgan Wallen's been on there before for
I think I
Tennessee.
would take quite literally anybody but Kenny Chesney.
Yeah. Kelsey Ballerini.
Yeah, good. Uh, could be Megan Maroney, but she's actually a Georgia fan, ain't she?
Yeah, she is. I don't
Yeah.
think that would go over well at
Uh,
Ayers Hall.
while we're joking about this, I found a new follow on Twitter.
Okay. He will
Pretty
not. It can't be Morgan Wallen, by the way. He's going to be in Edmonton, Alberta, Canada on Friday and Saturday.
fair enough. Um, this guy's name, I'm going to butcher this, is Brian Fremeau, Fremeau. He does college football possession efficiency and data visualization. He's an enthusiast of such, according to his bio. And I always say piss on your analytics, but it's computer rankings based on. he calls them FEI ratings. He does defensive ratings, offensive ratings, special teams, possession efficiency, available yards percentage, and this data goes all the way back to 2007. I think he's just a nerd with this is his hobby, which is kind of like how the BCS formula came about.
Hmm.
My stats professor at Carson Newman, he had like a quarter of the formula was his
Hmm.
senior project.
He
Which,
did.
fun fact, Ken Massey, look him
Hmm.
up.
Yep,
The Massey ratings, I think, is what it's called.
that's right.
But as of 4 days ago, the FEI ratings, the top 10: Ohio State, Georgia, Oregon, Penn State, Texas, Notre Dame. Ole Miss was at 7, which is interesting. 8 Alabama, don't agree with that. 9 LSU, 10 Tennessee. So it's just kind of interesting, and you can follow the guy. He's got a link, and I went through a wormhole one night. I mean, I went through like 2 or 3 hours of this, and about Thursday or Friday each week, he puts up his projections for each game, and he has like expected win loss or expected point total for each team. Then he puts a spread next to it, and then he always puts the previous week up to see win loss
Hmm.
straight up, win loss on the spread. It's a good little follow. Obviously, computers aren't everything. You still gotta snap the ball. It's a fun little follow.
I'll have to look him up because you know how I am about analytics. So
Yeah,
I'll look him up.
it's fun. He
Um,
hasn't updated it from this past weekend. I would assume an operation like that takes a few days,
Probably.
but yeah,
Real quick, the SEC schedule, you're doing your power rankings. So I'm going to blow through these really quick here. Oklahoma, I'm going to start from 12 o'clock and work my way down. Oklahoma at Temple.
that's interesting.
Yeah. At Lincoln Financial Field. Um, Wisconsin at Alabama. We mentioned that one. Bama favored by 20 and a half. South Alabama at Auburn. Of course, Georgia at Tennessee at 3:30. You've got Louisiana, the Raging Cajuns at Missouri. UTEP at Texas. Texas 41 and a half point favorites. Wow. Alcorn State at Mississippi State. Alma mater of Steve McNair. Arkansas at Ole Miss. So here's a test for Arkansas. Like, okay, you beat Baby Seals up the first 2 weeks. What do you got? You mentioned Florida at LSU. Texas A&M at Notre Dame, big primetime game on NBC. These two met last season. Eastern Michigan at Kentucky. Wow.
What's the spread on that one?
Kentucky is favored by 24 and a half points. How bad is Eastern Michigan?
And they scored 25.
I don't, I don't know. Vandy at South Carolina. Interesting game.
That is interesting. That's two teams that beat up on Virginia Tech. In my opinion, Vandy looked better against Virginia Tech and South Carolina did.
South Carolina favored by 5.5. It's a 7:45 kickoff at Williams-Brice.
Sandstorm and
And
what's the song? What's the Ric Flair song called that
the
they?
theme of the 21st century or whatever,
Yeah,
or
it's
whatever it's called,
Olympia or Odyssey or something like that.
something. I just call it Ric Flair's entrance music.
This would be the game so far for Diego Pavia to put his money where his mouth is.
Yeah, you're
Which
right.
if they lose in a shootout, nobody's going to be upset at him. But I feel like this is a perfect opportunity for Vandy to kind of get a statement win for 2025 if they want to be taken seriously whatsoever.
Yeah, I mean it's a big game for both of those. South Carolina loses, they're behind the eight ball in the SEC race. Vandy wins, people are going to have to start taking them somewhat legit or taking
Mm.
them somewhat seriously. So. We'll see how that goes. Big weekend coming up, Harb. It's time to get ready. Georgia Bulldogs coming to town. Um, we'll be down there. I don't want to say bright and early, but we met here at the studios at 10 o'clock yesterday. Got the stuff ready, so we'll be down there a little bit earlier than that this next week to get set up. But got a new boombox TV, Bluetooth speaker, so should be able to watch not all the games, but some of them. So a lot of people came by and saw it and said, "Man, that is awesome. Where did you get that at?" Told them, and if uh, if Sam's Club at Easttown or at Bridgewater uh, sees a run on those things, they can thank me for it. And so I would expect either them to sponsor this show or give me a clip of that of those sales. So, but no, I had fun yesterday. Weather didn't stop us. We parked underneath. Um, Shout out to everybody that came in. Laura and Boston Matt were there, and they brought their families with their parents with them. I think it was Matt's dad's first ever college football game. So he's a big NFL Patriots fan. So first college game for Matt's dad. So shout out to him. But had a fun time yesterday, and we'll do it again next Saturday. Appreciate everybody listening and checking us out on Twitter and Facebook, Instagram. You can follow us there at Section YY8. You can see it on the bottom of the screen, our new little media bug, as Brandon Watson called it. And then if you're watching us and you want to listen to us on audio, we're on Spotify, Apple. And if you're listening to us and want to watch us and see our beautiful faces, you can watch us on YouTube. Just look up Section YY8 podcast. Got any parting thoughts, Harb, before we check out?
It's the biggest game in Neyland of the year, obviously, so far, but probably the biggest game in Knoxville all year. The Oklahoma game, depending on what we both do going forward, is shaping up to be close to this.
Hmm.
But this is one of the three games you get graded on as the head coach of Tennessee. This is the only one that Heupel has not won yet. I want to see my man get his first dub against Kirby Smart. It's out there. It is not a huge upset if we do win. That is the one thing I want y'all to leave with when you finish this episode at some point this week. This isn't David and Goliath anymore like it has been or like it was 3 or 4 years ago. Like this is two very good football teams going up against each other. And it happens to be in our backyard this time. Like it will not be a shocker if we win this football game. And if they beat us, they had the better day. Whatever, it is what it is. JWTDG, damn it.
Yes.
That's all it's about. It's all it's ever been about.
I mean, it's the only thing that matters in anything you do, not just football, but JWTDG in your life.
Correct. Yeah. Just win the damn game every time you go out.
Yes.
And if you don't, lick your wounds, regroup, and win the next one.
Um, by the way, we got new JWTDG stickers, and there are koozies, but I've got to go get them. I wasn't, they've been delivered to another location, and I was not told that they were delivered to said location. And I did not have them Saturday because I was not made aware that they were here. So I've got to go at some point this week and get those. So it should have some JWTDG koozies next week, and I also do have stickers for next week. So we will have those.
I'm ready to party Saturday night.
I am too.
I'm ready for Knoxville to get lit up like a Newport.
And then go to Waffle House later that night.
Oh, absolutely.
Hadn't been to Waffle House in a while. By the way, we went to Stock and Barrel last night. Excellent. Hadn't been there in a while.
Good spot.
Couple good old fashions. Thank you, John Doty, for those. Shout out John Doty and Nicole. I can't forget Nicole. Nicole listens to the show every day, every week, by the way. So shout out to Nicole Doty. Huge fan of the show.
One more final thought. I listened to Georgia on My Mind by Ray Charles like 5 times between me leaving your house last night and right now. That's the theme for the week. And I can't wait to rub the vinyl off by playing That's the Night That the Lights Went Out in Georgia Saturday night. I don't know the actual name, but it's close to that.
We
Can't
we
wait.
know what we know what song you're talking about.
I can't wait to just play that on repeat in G10 as loud as we can possibly play it.
That's gonna we gotta win so we can do it, Harb.
Absolutely. I'm telling you. I'm telling you. I've been preaching this since June. I feel it in my loins.
If we do just if we do win, I need everybody that either comes to the tailgate or is at the game to come back to the tailgate. I'm not asking you. I'm telling you, you
Oh
will
yeah.
come back to the tailgate because honestly, win or lose, the way they've got us exiting the garage now, we ain't going anywhere for probably hour, hour and a half, maybe longer. So I'm not asking, I'm telling you that if Tennessee wins, you will come back to G10 and we will burn that SOB to the ground.
What?
What?
All right. So since you think we're gonna lose, give me your final score prediction, real quick before we go.
I think Georgia beats us 27 to 23.
Well, what's really funny is I had 27-24 Vols in my head. Um, yeah, I'm gonna stick with that. I think it's 27-24 Vols. I think Stockton makes a couple good throws. I think he plays better than what it kind of sounds like I'm leading on. He's not bad. He's a very good football player, but you have a much better chance in this game of taking your chances with him throwing the ball than you do just letting them run all over the place.
I want
So,
to see one last note from me on this. I want to see our front four get after him.
oh
Like
yeah,
we need our front. Remember when we went down there 3 years ago
yeah,
and I mean
let him get some happy feet.
yeah, I mean we went down there 3 years ago and Stetson Bennett was just standing back there and our front four could not get any pressure on him. I want to see our front four against a team like this wreak havoc. And I think we got the dogs to do it. So let's go do it.
Might as well. We ain't doing nothing else Saturday night.
No.
Uh, Tennessee takes the lead with 4.5 minutes left. Georgia gets it to close to midfield. Batted ball or tipped ball or pass over the middle. Interception. The metaphorical roof of Neyland Stadium gets blown into smithereens, and it's just electric. That's how I see this happening.
I like where your head's at, Harb. You're thinking positively. You're not scared, and we shouldn't be scared of Georgia anymore.
Here's
So,
them.
well, I'm excited about it. If you're down there this weekend, just if you're down there just to tailgate, come by and see us. If you're down there going to the game, come by and see us and hang out. We had a bunch of people swing by this past weekend, so I don't want to leave anybody out that was there. So if I'm not going to mention everybody that was there, but if you were there, you know who you were, and we love seeing you. So check in with me and Harb on Saturday just to make sure where we're at, but we should be on the top level where we normally are toward the Thompson Bowling Arena side. So I hope to see everybody down there this Saturday. Harb, get your mind right. Sounds like your mind is right. So just get ready. It's all a week of preparation. So get prepared and we'll get this done on Saturday, Harb.
Oh, I'm prepared.
I'm fired up, focused, and prepared.
I'm laser focused on the dogs.
It's what you got to be. You got to be laser focused. Laser focused. All right, everybody. Appreciate everybody listening. Hope to see you guys and gals down there Saturday. And if you're not there, we will remember you and be with us in spirit. Until the next time. I'm Negative Niece. That's Harb. And we'll see you guys next week on the Section YY8 podcast.